Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today I want to talk to you about a great new course that we're going to be having starting very shortly in the upcoming weeks, and this is our 2021 Stock Trading Survival course. And the reason why we call it survival is because many traders, even though the market went up in 2020 for most part of the year, the latter part of the year at least, a lot of traders had a very difficult time trading and, in fact, making profits. For example, let's see how this chart looks. This is going back to 2020 at the beginning of the year. Now, starting out in January, we were on a nice, steady up course. As you can see, this is a weekly chart of the Dow. And things were rolling along very nicely, going to the upside. And then all of a sudden, the next 2 weeks, we saw these strong moves to the downside. So at this point, a lot of traders were thinking, well, we've been going up for so long, most likely we've reached some type of a short-term top. Maybe I better get out. Maybe I better sell my positions, or at least maybe stop thinking about buying and stay on the sidelines. Well, you got negative, and then all of a sudden this happens right up to the top again, just getting ready to make new highs. So you said to yourself, well, I got it a little bit too early. Time to get back in. So you get back in. This is what we call a bracket market, or kind of a range market. But you're excited because you think it's going to break out to the upside. So you got back in, you bought up at the top, and then we all remember what happened in March and April, right? So a lot of traders lost a lot of money here, holding on to those positions that they purchased at the very top. And just when they thought it couldn't get any worse and we were going to go into a little mini depression here, that's when most traders sold. And then this happens. We get a little bounce here. Now, it was kind of an anemic bounce. It wasn't full with a lot of momentum. In fact, on the surface, it looked like it was just what we called a retracement. In fact, we came back 50%. Usually the way this technique works is you retrace 50% of the downward move, and then most likely you're going to resume the downward move and make a lower low. So a lot of traders didn't get caught in this, and they said, you know what, I'm not going to buy. In fact, if you were more advanced, you would have said, maybe I'm going to sell. I'm going to go short here to get in at the very top of the next wave down. So just when you sold in May, look what happened, okay? And we've gone on to make higher highs, and we're making brand new highs in the market right now. So do you see how difficult it can be? The funny thing is, though, these same situations, these same categories keep repeating over and over again, regardless of what year it is and regardless of what market you're looking at. You can be looking at an intraday market, you can be looking at daily bars or weekly bars, but you'll see these same things happen over and over again. So this is why we're creating our 2021 survival course for stock traders. The beauty of this is that you'll be able to learn easily and very quickly by using our platform. This is the PTS Primo charting platform I developed with Pro Trader Strategies to teach you how to survive in the upcoming year, 2021. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading for 43 years. In the next couple of weeks, it'll turn into 44 years. I can't believe I've been actually involved in the markets for that long. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years. 9 of those years I was a specialist, so that's where we get the name Specialist Trading. I know a lot of you in attendance don't know what a specialist is. It doesn't mean you're more special than anyone else, that you're a special trader. It means that in the old days, if you ever look at those pictures on the floor where the guys were making the weird hand signals and yelling back and forth and standing in a wad of paper, well, those were traders who made markets roughly in about 50 or 60 stocks. If you wanted to buy or sell a particular stock, you had to go up to the trader who specialized in making a market. So I did that for roughly 9 years. I made markets in IBM, Waste Management, US Air, Beverly, Reynolds. I made a lot of markets during the crash of 1987. Believe it or not, I was making markets during the crash and the bull market that followed. So I've seen and traded just about every market environment. And so I feel that this really qualifies me to help you with what may be happening in 2021. Now, I'm not predicting we're going to go straight up. I'm not predicting we're going to go straight down. But you'll see these same occurrences happening over and over. And it's the little things that really wear into a lot of traders, where it's not so much that you have to lose all your money with one bad trade or with maybe a crash or you're on the wrong side of a trade. What happens is these same things happen over and over again, which whittle away at your hard-earned money that you put aside for trading. So this is what we want to do. We want to help you with the 2021 Stock Trading Survival course so that regardless of what environment you meet, regardless of which direction the market goes, regardless of which stock you trade, you'll be able to meet all these challenges and obstacles along the way to overcome them and have the best of the best in terms of our tools to really start out the new year in the right direction. Okay, so this is why we're having this really great course, in my opinion. We're going to share with you the best of the best. And let me just explain to you what it is in today's presentation. But before we begin, once again, as always, we are first required by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results and what we're going to be covering in the course. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the information and the performance results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. As always, remember, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, since we are first and foremost an educational company, if you'd like to see a lot of our work and exactly what we do, I invite each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter. You can get some daily information there. I post roughly 3 to 5, maybe sometimes 7 or 8 different things on a daily basis, sometimes signals or strategies or techniques I've generated to little bits of financial wisdom. So if you're looking for daily education, there's lots of great free things on our Twitter page. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now remember, we are first and foremost an educational company. That's our only goal. So we're not in this upcoming course going to tell you what we think the market's going to do. In fact, I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if we're going to continue to make new highs. I don't know if we're going to crash. I don't know if we're going to go sideways in a range market. No one really knows. You see, as a trader, it really doesn't matter. What we teach our students is just ways to cope with each and every scenario that is presented to you. That's really all that matters. In other words, play the hand you're dealt. Good traders, the traders I have known, the ones that have stood the test of time, that are still trading 30, 40 years, never try to make predictions about what they think a stock or the market's going to do. They never really try to say how high or how low something will go. All they do is simply learn how to follow the market and listen to it. So that's what we want to do in this course. We want to educate you so that ultimately you can make your own trading decisions, not have to rely on anyone or anything else to tell you what to buy, what to sell, tell you what the market's going to do, tell you what the market's not going to do, tell you what the earnings are going to be in this specific stock, tell you what the jobless claims are going to be. I stopped looking at those things over 4 decades ago. And if I'm still here and able to survive, you should be able to do the same, okay? Keep your trading simple, and that's how you get onto that road to consistency. Okay, so once again, my goal is not to force feed you signals or to tell you how to trade. My goal is to simply teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. The same edge that was taught to me some 43 years ago when I first started trading, and I struggled tremendously. Many of the things I'm going to be talking to you about today and I'm going to be teaching in the course are the things I struggle with myself. And my mentors taught me all of the same things that I teach all of our students around the world in over 115 countries and in every state. So hopefully it will be able to sustain you the same way these techniques and methods have been able to sustain me. Now, I'm going to show you a lot of slides today. I'm going to show you a lot of information, what's going to be covered, but please wait to ask questions at the end, okay? I don't want to stop for every slide to take all of your Wednesday here. I know there's a good markets trade out there, so if we're here way too long, you'll miss what's going on. So please wait till the end to ask any questions. The only question I will answer is the most common one, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. If you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, each and every one of you will receive a link to this recording, okay? All right, with that stated, let's begin today's educational presentation. So exactly who is this course for? Because remember, I know a lot of you are saying, well, Steve, I mean, what do I have to survive for? I did pretty well in the markets. I didn't do as great as I wanted to. I didn't reach my goal, but I didn't get killed and I didn't actually, make a killing myself. So who exactly is this course for? Well, even if you didn't get hurt a lot, there are a lot of traders out there who had a difficult time trading in 2020. Now, remember, we know that the market made new highs, but just because the market makes new highs does not in any way mean and equate that everyone's going to make tons of money. I mean, trust me, when I first started trading, the market was making new highs, even though it was 43 years ago, and I had a very difficult time trading. So it's not so much about that. There are tons and tons of traders who had a very difficult year in 2020. Now, perhaps you searched for the trading opportunities. You thought everyone else is making money, but I can't find these opportunities, and you were unable to find them. Maybe that $10,000 course you took, which promised the world, didn't really formulate all these great setups. If they did, they were too risky or you didn't feel comfortable with them. And many times they just kept you out of the market. And so you felt like you were missing everything, where everyone else was making tons of money, even though they weren't. You probably thought that, but you're thinking like you're missing, you're watching your boat go by and everyone else is having a good time enjoying themselves. So what happens when you feel like you're being left out? Well, most likely you probably overtrade. You're searching for that winning home run trade so you can get back on track, so you can be like everybody else, okay? But this ultimately leads to a series of losses, because when you overtrade, when you look for that home run, sure, maybe you'll get one good trade, maybe even a couple, but most likely you give it all back, right? And then you start going into a series of losses, and now you're even worse off than when you first started searching for that holy grail, okay? So most likely you've completely lost confidence along with a large sum of your trading account, and you're starting to think whether it's worth it, right? Should I really waste my time trading? Or what if I don't have enough funds left, okay? And so you start thinking about 2021, and at this point, you see no reason for it to be any better, so maybe you don't even want to trade. Maybe this is your last chance, all right? It's extremely discouraging. I know it's frustrating because you spent a lot of hard-earned money and time searching for that consistency, and it feels like everyone else has it, but you don't. And you especially feels terrible because the market is making you highs, and you feel like you're left behind, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, don't worry. I know exactly what that's like. I went through the exact same thing, and trust me, there is a way to turn things around. That's why we formulated this course, Pro Trader Strategies and myself. This is why we created this 3-week course. It's going to be live classes each preceding week, and we're going to be teaching you something different in each class. We're going to give you the best of the best. So these are live classes to a limited amount of students. We don't want to keep the classes very large because then they're not as intimate anymore. We want to keep it small, like a small, intimate learning experience. But this is going to be starting, as we stated, in the very near future, probably the next 3 or so weeks. Now, each week I'll teach you how to apply a proprietary tool or strategy or an indicator that I personally feel will give you the best chance for surviving the markets. Now, these powerful edges will enable you to meet any trading challenge that may arise in 2021. And the beauty of all this is that I know a lot of you say, well, Steve, gosh, I kind of need a private mentor. I would do much better if you could be able to sit at my side and show me what I'm doing wrong, or be able to teleconference with me every day. And sure, I would love to do that too, but we have literally thousands of students. I couldn't be doing that with each and every one of our students. So the beauty of this is we created your own personal mentor. That's the PTS Primo charting platform, because it really teaches you all these things I'm going to be sharing with you and revealing in the course, and then it will teach you how to apply them. All right, so let's talk about the 3 biggest challenges you're going to be experiencing in 2021. I know a lot of you are saying, well, Steve, you said you don't predict things, so how do you know these challenges are going to arise? Because they arise over and over again. They're cyclical. You're always going to see them, just like I showed you in 2020. They're going to be in every stock. They're going to be at some time in every market you trade, in every indice, in every ETF. Sometimes they'll last longer than others. But these are the 3 main challenges you're going to be seeing, regardless of 2021 or 3021. It doesn't matter. As long as there's a market, you'll see these things occur, because they're cyclical and they're always going to be around. So we have to have a way to meet these challenges. All right, so let's cover what they are. Obstacle number 1. These are range or whipsaw markets. I can't tell you how many emails I get on a daily basis saying, Steve, how do you deal with these whipsaw markets? It seems when we're in a range, that's when I lose the most money. It goes up and I buy, and then it goes right back down. So I sell, and then it goes right back up. And after a while, the stock hasn't done anything. It's just stayed in a range for days or weeks or even months, and I've lost a lot of money. It would have been better if I just stayed on the sidelines, or if I knew which direction it wanted to ultimately go. Well, here's a way to trade them, because you're going to see them all the time. Remember, we shared with you the beginning of 2020. We were in a range or whipsaw market, whether you knew it or not. This is a weekly chart going back a couple of months to November. We saw here that we were in this range market. Okay, so it's kind of difficult. Every time you bought, it sold off. Every time you sold, it went back up. So how do we deal with that? Well, let's look at this older example in AEE. Excuse me. This was in January. We're going to look at some older charts right now. At the end of the presentation, we'll be looking at charts that happened within the last couple of weeks or so. But in this example, obviously, we're in some type of a sideways range market, okay? This is where most traders fail. Now, we were in this range market for almost a month. Most likely you were buying at the top, selling at the bottom, and so forth. Is there a way to know which direction ultimately we're going to go, because we know we can't stay in here forever. Well, even though it's not guaranteed, I feel one of the best tools we have is our translator. It's the PET-D. I'm going to show you a different way to use it, because once you apply the PET-D, it either generates a series of red bars or green bars. Now, if you see a range market and the majority of the bars are green, the translator, the PET-D, is telling you ultimately it's going to go higher. So rather than look at this as, well, this is something I should avoid, or I should just kind of stay away because I'm going to get whipsawed, you should be looking at this from a buyer's perspective, because the AEE, after a month or so, eventually went up and started a really nice upward slope. So do you see how the translator, the PET-D, telegraphed that a good month in advance? All right, let's look at another example in UPS. Once again, we are in a total range or whipsaw market. We're going up, we're going back down, back up, right back down, right? This is where a lot of traders have a very difficult time. Why? Because you don't know how long this is going to last. I have actually been, when I worked on the floor, I was in a range or whipsaw market for nearly a year. So it's very difficult at times to know exactly how to maneuver yourself around this. So here's the best way. Apply our translator, all right? When you have a whipsaw market, apply our translator, which is the PET-D. And if the bars are green, obviously you want to be in an upward kind of bias. But if the bars are red, what's it telling you? It's telling you that even though, yes, you are in a range or whipsaw market, ultimately it wants to go lower. Unless all the bars change to green, you should be looking at this from a seller's perspective. And then ultimately UPS went down 16 points. All right, do you see how much of an edge this automatically gives you? So you never have to really worry again about these range or whipsaw markets. You'll just apply the translator. Here's another example. This is in NEO, okay? This was in October. Now, we all know what NEO has done. It's been in the news lately, and it's been taking off. But a lot of traders don't know that in October, this was in a total range market, and no one was touching this stock. But what if you had applied our translator? You would have seen that the stock, not some guy in a chat room, not some guy on TV, but the stock was telling you it wants to go higher. Why? Because the translator, the PET-D, is having all the bars colored green. So what a great edge to have in these, the first of your obstacles, these range or whipsaw markets. And then we all know what NEO has done. Now, it went 21 points here. It actually has gone much, much higher since I took this snapshot. Now, if you like to trade different time frames, here's a weekly chart of Amazon, okay? If you're a weekly bar trader, same thing. We're in a range market. You kind of want to stay out of this. You don't know what way it's going to break out. Maybe you're a breakout trader. You say, well, Steve, I'll wait till it breaks out to the upside, or I'll wait to see if it breaks out to the downside. Well, why would you have to wait for that when you apply a translator and it's already telling you it wants to go higher? All right, this was in the summer, June coming into July. We all remember Amazon taking off in the summer. It went up 900 points. So this is the beauty of the translator. If you are in a situation where before you may have lost, or you may have got whipsawed, or you scared yourself and said, you know what, I'm going to get out. This stock isn't doing anything, and I've had my money tied up for weeks now. It's not doing anything. I better get out. Well, the beauty of our translator, the PET-D, is that it most likely will tell you which direction it's ultimately going to go. All right, let's look now with obstacle number 2. This is another thing I hear from students all the time. I was talking to a gentleman just last week about this, where he missed a big trade. And obstacle number 2 is missing those big moves, okay? In fact, I think he was talking about NEO. He was actually in NEO. Nothing happened, so he got out, and then he missed the big move, and he felt uncomfortable getting back in. And then, you know what's happened. It continues to go higher and higher. All right, so we were originally in that range market, and then March came in with the pandemic, and you missed that big move to the downside. Most likely, if you were losing money, you held on to positions, or most likely, you weren't convinced that this was going to go down that low. You started to buy in the second or third week, and at this point, you were losing a lot of money. So you probably got out. Let's say you like to both buy and sell the markets, but you didn't really see this coming, so you missed this move to the downside. You could have purchased puts or maybe shorted some stocks, but you didn't. So this is a big problem that traders have as well. These really fast and furious moves come out of nowhere sometimes. And sometimes you'll say to yourself, gosh, I was looking at that stock and I totally missed it. Or I was looking at that ETF and I was interested in doing something and it just took off, and by that time it was just too late, okay? So how can we alleviate this problem? Not 100%, but how can we really, have an edge in our back pocket so that we can trade these big moves and not miss them? This takes us to our next tool that we're going to be teaching you. Let's look at this chart here in JKS. We're only looking at 3 days here. Obviously, someone would say to themselves, Steve, I can't make any prediction or ideas about what this is going to do. How in the world would I know what's going to happen just by looking at these 3 bars? Well, with the tool I'm going to be sharing with you, which is our PTS Extreme Trend tool, it actually would have signaled that there was going to be an extreme upward move in JKS very soon. Now, how does it do this? Well, once you click it on our platform, it will paint blocks around the bars if they are in an extreme uptrend or downtrend. If you see a yellow block around the bar, it's telling you that most likely we're going to really move up very quickly. Now, it doesn't predict when it's going to happen. It doesn't predict how high it will go or how low it will go. It's just telling you that if you're thinking about this stock, this is a great tool. This is a great edge to have because now you don't have to miss it. For example, look at that yellow block that was painted around the 3rd bar. Once again, most traders would say, well, Steve, how do you know that? I mean, did you know about the earnings? Or were you looking at some advanced information that no one had? No, we never look at those things. If you want to look at earnings, if you want to look at jobless numbers, if you want to look at economic reports, feel free. But that is in no way required. Remember, our philosophy is to keep things as simple as possible. And it's our opinion that you only overcomplicate your trading when you apply those, in my opinion, really useless tools. Because the market tells me sometimes much more in advance than those things do. So why would I waste my time listening to them? I haven't listened to the news in 40 years. So if I'm still here, why should you listen to those things? But it's ultimately up to you. You make your own decisions. But all we have to do is look for those blocks. And as we can see, there's a yellow block. This was happening in September. Well, aren't you glad you didn't miss that 65-point up move in the next month coming into October? Okay. Now, the beauty of the PTS XT tool is that it tells you when there's an extreme move, and then it gets you out once the bars go back into the the regular or nondescript color. So this is where you want to avoid trading. Now, even if you didn't decide to buy it, a lot of our students say, well, listen, Steve, I don't necessarily buy. I don't use it as a buy signal. I just wait till I see that it's been in for a while, and then I'll apply my own strategy. That's fine. But we teach you, and I'm going to be teaching you in the course, different ways to apply it so that you can meet on any obstacle and you won't be missing these big moves anymore. Here's another example, Sabre, S-A-B-R, okay? Well, maybe you thought there was some support there, but then we have a gap down. You say to yourself, well, Steve, it's really oversold. I bought this $5,000 indicator, and it tells me that we are so oversold here. I want to buy it for a little bounce, and maybe I'll think about shorting it later. You see how we always use things that really don't have any consistency? Why don't we once again listen to what the market's telling us? We apply the PTS XT Extreme Trend tool, which once again only listens to the market, doesn't take in any of these overbought, oversold tools, doesn't take any economic indicators. It just listens to the market on a tick-by-tick basis. And what do we have? We have a reddish-orange color block around that bar. So you can go ahead and do what you want to, because once again, nothing is 100% guaranteed. This may be a wrong signal, but at least you would be in and out very quickly, wouldn't risk a lot. But from what I've seen, the odds are in your favor to go short or at least to get out of this. Don't buy it. And that would have been a wise choice because the stock fell 18 points, okay? You see how this works? Do you think you would be missing a lot of these big moves with the PTS XT? Another example, we look at mRNA, okay, Moderna. Now, this is an old. This example is about a week or so old. It's already gone much, much higher. But look at this. No one knew anything about the, what was the latest news about the vaccines. But right here on the 9th of November, a yellow block was painted around Moderna, mRNA. The stock quickly went up 25 points, and we know it's gone up much higher after that as well. You see why? You don't need to know about news. You really don't need to. How about Tesla? Well, it looked as if we're rolling over, but how could we have taken advantage of this nice upward move here? This was in July. Had you applied the PTS XT? Right here, it told you that it was going to have an extreme up move, and look what happened. Now, once we left the colored block, that's where you want to avoid trading, because most likely you'll get into that whipsaw area. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, we have another yellow block, time to get back in, 170 points. So totally here, you could have made upwards of potentially 300 points if you were able to get in at the bottom and get out at the top. And I know a lot of students say, well, Steve, 300? I mean, there's no way. I would have to get in exactly at the low and get out at exactly at the high. That's kind of, far-fetched, isn't it? Okay, let's just say you made a third of that. Would you be happy making 100 points in a couple of months? That's not a bad little trade either, right? So that's what we mean. You don't have to get at the bottom and get at the top. You can still take a nice chunk of that 300 points. If you only captured 100, that's a very nice little trade you made there, okay? This is the beauty of all these tools and techniques we're going to be sharing with you in the course. Now, this brings us to obstacle number 3. And this is something I've been trading on a daily basis. Even I traded today in my own personal trading. I was taught this method some 40 years ago, over 4 decades ago, by my mentors, and this is what we're going to be using for obstacle 3. This is the inability to identify momentum, because most of us, we think, well, Steve, momentum's easy now, and now that I have the PET-D and the PTS-XD, I can see when that momentum is. Well, sure, it's really easy. In fact, you don't need those tools to decide when they're going to happen. But what usually happens is when you have these sideways or flat markets, most of us say to ourselves, well, there's no momentum. But in all actuality, this technique or this strategy is able to identify that momentum is building up or kind of coiling up, getting ready to explode. For example, as we see here, most people said, well, this was kind of a dead cat bounce. I'm going to get ready to sell this because there's not really a lot of momentum up here. We just have retraced 50%. And then look what happened. You see, you weren't able to identify that momentum properly. You were thinking of something else. Maybe the market just looked lackluster. It was just retracing, or maybe it was just dead in a whipsaw range market. So how can we identify this momentum before anyone else sees it? Well, up until now, we've just shown you tools and techniques and indicators to see what the market is doing and what it wants to do. But how do we actually enter? We need to add some structure. And that is what we're going to be sharing with you in the next week. That is strategy number 4. For example, remember we talked about NEO? Now, had you applied the PET-D, it was sharing with you that it was green. So someone would say, well, that's great. That means it wants to go up. But where do I get in? I mean, how do I get in? Should I wait? Do I put a limit in? Do I just buy at the market? This is where we have strategy number 4. Strategy number 4 is probably one of our most consistent methods. Once again, it's a method I use every day in my personal trading. Look at here. When we were going sideways, the PET-D would have told you that ultimately we wanted to go higher. Now, in order to affect and put together some type of plan to enter, you just click on strategy 4, and you could have taken advantage of this nice little up move. Now, if you wanted to get out with a quick 2 or 3 point gain, you could have done that, or held on and even bought more, because that's when we really took off. Okay? How about that example in Sabre? Okay? Well, we're kind of going sideways here. Apply strategy 4, 2 sell signals, well before the PET-D determined that it wanted to go lower. And look what happened after that. We all know that it fell out of bed. You see, if you add the structure, that will give you the ability to enter when you have these scenarios where there's really not a lot of noticeable or identifiable momentum. How about right here, UPS? Well, we're kind of going sideways. We have one update here, but we had another update here, and then we went sideways and lower. Well, strategy 4 has been generating buy signals all the time here. So it's kind of screaming that it wants to go higher, even though it doesn't look as if there's any momentum at all. The stock went up 40 points in the next couple of weeks. So see, up until now, as we said, we've just had tools and techniques to show us what the market wants to do where no one else is able to spot that. Now we have a tool or technique that has stood the test of time that actually applies structure for your entry, for an actual trade that comes with entry points, exit points, stop placement, money management in the form of strategy number 4. Let's look at this weekly chart here of PDD, okay? Once again, people would say, well, gosh, this stock is not telling me anything. Well, actually it is, because if you apply strategy 4, even though it looks like there's a range market, there are buy signals being generated in a range market. So this gives you the ability to enter and take advantage of 75 points in 5 weeks if you decided to do so. Now, this comes complete with exit points, comes complete with different types of entry, comes complete with different types of stop placement. So it's up to you how much you want to take out. I often say it's like the markets are like, driving a truck up to the Pacific Ocean. How much water you want to put in that truck is up to you. You can take a big, a jug and fill it with water and fill the truck with water. You can take a little small spoon. It's up to you. There are just enough profits for everyone to go around. But how you decide is up to you. That's your choice. We're never going to tell you how to trade or what you should do, because remember, our philosophy is that the only person who should be making the decisions is the actual trader themselves. Not some guy in a chat room, not some guy on TV, not some convoluted indicator or the institutions, not even some guy in a webinar. They should only be teaching you ways to trade, but ultimately you have to make your own decisions. Okay, so let's recap what we're going to be sharing with you in the course. Remember, each week for 3 weeks, I'll teach you how to apply a proprietary tool, a strategy, or an indicator that I personally feel will give you the best chance for surviving the markets in 2021. Now, these powerful edges will enable you to meet any trading challenge that may arise in 2021, and you're going to be able to use the platform to help you learn these edges and to practice and to feel comfortable and confident for the very first time making your own decisions. So let's go over the curriculum, this 3-week live class that I'll be teaching to you. Week 1, we're going to be talking about the directional tool, the PET-D. Another title for the PET-D is our translator, because it literally translates what the market wants to do. Remember, it does not predict. It simply translates on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do, regardless if it wants to go down, if it wants to go sideways, if it wants to go higher or lower. It makes no difference, okay? For example, let's look at this recent chart. Remember, we told you we were going to share with you older charts just so you can understand the process. Let's look at something that happened in the last month. Now, obviously, we're in a range market here in QS. Obviously, the stock is going nowhere. What's our translator telling us while we've been in this range market? Well, we apply the translator, and for the first portion of it, it was red. So we could have applied a strategy to go in that direction, but there were no strategy signals with strategy number 4. And then look what happened. We changed because the market changed its mind. Remember, the market is, always changing its mind. Our job is not to predict what it wants to do. Our job is simply to jump on board. So when it changed its mind and said, you know what, I want to go higher after all, then we want to go with it. And QS went up 38 points in 2 weeks. So that's going to be taught with you, share with you the different ways in which to apply it in week 1. Then we take it up a notch in week 2. We're going to share with you how to apply the strategy that I use on a daily basis, strategy number 4. This is a pattern recognition strategy. It's based on a specific pattern that repeats itself over and over and over again in any market or time frame. But we're going to be mainly just talking about stocks and how it affects your stock trading, okay? So let's look at an example that just happened. Once again, in the last 30 days or so. This was in mid to end of November. Remember how we taught you and said that most traders have a difficult time because they are not able to adequately identify momentum. For example, looking at this, you'd say, Steve, there's absolutely no momentum here. All right, so I'm not going to do anything. We're going sideways. All right. If you added strategy number 4, 2 buy signals were generated. So strategy number 4 is able to identify momentum simply by looking at this pattern and making sure that all the requirements are met. Where no one else sees it, strategy number 4 does. And look what happened. In one day, it jumped up 6 points. Think you could have made some nice money with an option there, or maybe a quick trade? So we're going to share with you all the different ways to apply it, how I use it in my trading, and ways in which to trade with strategy 4 with the other tools as well. And then week 3, we're going to give you the best of the best in our opinion. That's the PTSXT Extreme Trend Indicator. This, once again, is a translator, but it's different from the PET-D in that fact that it's only looking for extreme trends. In other words, straight up or straight down moves. It's not looking for everything. Like the PET-D will identify anything, a sideways market, straight up, straight down, kind of slow moving market. The PET-D will just translate whatever the market wants to do. The PTSXT is only requirement is to identify a strong either upward or downward move. These are the moves that you want to be in so that you don't miss the market. And once you see that, you can apply strategy 4, you can apply the PET-D with it. You can have all 3 combined if you'd like to give you a higher level of consistency. So let's look at this example here in work, okay? This has been in the news lately. I believe it was a buyout rumor or something like that. As we can see, just going back to the 16th or 17th, we've kind of been going higher a little bit, but not very exciting, really not enough information here to tell us what it's going to do. If we had applied the PTSXT, look what happened. On the 20th, just a week or two ago, an extreme uptrend signal was generated. Now, if you want, you could have simply purchased at the close of that bar, maybe placed a limit. We show you a number of different ways to trade it in the course, but look what happened that next week. It was coming into yesterday, 15 points in 1 week, okay? An extreme upward move. Now, obviously, there was some fundamental news that happened later on that caused this to go up. Isn't it funny how we don't even follow fundamental news, but we were able to identify it before any of that happened? See, that's the beauty of using tools that only listen to the market. The market usually tells you everything you need to know. Here's the only trouble. We're always trained, myself included when I first started trading, to listen to something else. We're never trained to listen to the chart in front of us. Well, here for the very first time, you'll learn how to do it. And guess what? It's a lot easier than trying to figure out what the earnings are or trying to figure out what some indicator is, some economic number is. This is so much easier to interpret and so much easier to apply, okay? This just happened, once again, a couple of weeks ago. So we're just trying to share with you that all the things we're going to be teaching with you didn't just work, in the early part of last year of 2020. The last 3 examples I shared with you happened within the last 2 to 3 or 4 weeks. Now, we're also going to throw in an extra bonus because remember, in order to apply all of these tools correctly, in order to learn properly, you're going to need our mentor sitting next to you, right? What is that? That's the PTS Primo charting platform, because it's like having your own personal mentor. You can check your work. Everything you need to know is one click away, and you can see if you're progressing or not. And that's the beauty, because it's the educational platform that actually teaches you how to trade. So here's the extra bonus. We're going to throw this in along with Strength of Trend tool, along with our top bottom 25% tool, along with personalized tech support. But let me share with you what I believe are the best things that's coming with all these tools and techniques on our PTS Primo charts. They are the signal scanner, because you're going to be able to scan for signals, along with auto-generated exit levels. These all come included on our platform. For example, on a nightly basis, you would just open up the platform, click on Strategy 4, in the drop-down menu, click on Scanner, and you'd see this page appear. All right? Now you click on Load Symbols. You can choose any symbols from the NASDAQ 100 to S&P. You can choose different indices, such as the Asian markets. It's up to you. We just picked the Dow here, okay? You'll see that appear in a matter of seconds. Then just click on Scan. All right? Now, I took my time explaining this to you, but over a couple of days, you'll be able to figure this out, and it'll take you probably less than 10 seconds to apply. And you'll see a series of either red or green horizontal bars. The red bars means there's a sell signal attached to that corresponding stock. The green one obviously means a buy signal. So you'll be able to know on a nightly basis where strategy number 4 buy and sell signals are. Then once you pull up the chart, you'll be able to apply the PTSXT along with the PET-D to collaborate with those very high probability tools to give you those really highly consistent trades. For example, here's something that happened a month ago. A buy signal on strategy number 4 was generated in KWR. Now it went up a little bit. And so at this point, most traders will say, well, I've been in this trade for about 3 days. Not really sure if I want to stay in. Sure, I haven't lost anything, but there are some other exciting things, and it's nearly not taking off the way I thought. And plus, it's an expensive $200 stock. So I don't want to keep my money tied up in this. But what if you combined our other tool, the PTS XT? If you had applied that, you would have seen that clicking that on our platform, what do we have here? A yellow block. So you're already long the stock. And the translator for the extreme moves is telling you, I wouldn't sell, because most likely there's going to be a strong upward move now. And you're already in. And that was a nice 80-point gain in the next 2 weeks. See how simple this is? This just happened roughly about a month ago. Or how about this? This is in TMO. Once again, someone just looking at this would say, why would I want to trade this? We're going straight up, then straight down. There's really no rhyme or reason in this stock. Well, if you had scanned the night before, you would have seen for strategy number 4, well, along with that, with the PET-D, all of the bars are green, and strategy 4 generated a buy signal right here on the 30th, just a little over a month ago. So the short-term trend, the translator is telling you that's a high probability buy, along with strategy number 4. So had you taken that trade, guess what? We automatically furnish you on the platform with the auto-generated exit points. You would know exactly where you wanted to exit. For example, if you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out quickly, well, you would take these first couple of exits right here. If you wanted more bang for your buck and you wanted a higher risk-reward ratio, you'd exit either here or here. And look what happened in the next 3 days. If you had chosen the last exit point, you would have exited with a 35-point gain in 3 days. I know most of our students say, gosh, Steve, this is great, but it went higher for the next 2 days. Well, we always advise our students to get out at the fourth and final exit level because most of the time the trend changes. So don't you think these tools can really help you? Not only did the translator tell you that the market wanted to go higher, strategy number 4 issued a way for you to get in, telling you this was a buy setup, and it also generated exit levels. All this was done for you on the platform. But remember, it's not a black box. We teach you exactly how to apply all this and how it's incorporated in your trading and what it's made of. Stop making the same mistakes every year, over and over again. Remember, that's the definition of insanity. Stop beating your head against a wall. The 2021 Stock Trading Survival Course can help you become a more consistent trader in 2021. I've just shown you a small piece, just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to be teaching you in the course with these 3 really high probability tools. All right, here's how to take advantage of this. I want you to become a student of mine in the Stock Trading Survival Course. So we have a great offer for all of you before we begin, roughly in the next 3 weeks. Now, if we took these separately, let me show you how much you would be spending if you had to purchase all of these separately. The PET-D directional tool usually costs close to $3,000, all right? Now, if you purchased the pattern recognition strategy 4, that would be close to $700. And then along with the PTSXT, that would be nearly $5,000. So if you purchased all these along with the advanced money management lesson, which we're also going to be throwing in as a bonus, I mean, that's close to $2,500. And 1 year of the PTS Primo charting platform, close to $1,200. I mean, we're really spending a lot here, especially at the end of the year, over $12,000. Now, you've all spent that much money, or the majority of you I know, because we get the emails from our students that say, gosh, I spent so many thousands of dollars searching for that holy grail, and none of it worked. So I know a lot of you have spent this, if not more. We're not going to charge you anywhere close to that. In fact, we're going to discount all these different prices. We're going to have a limited time only for $49.95. You're going to save over $7,000. And on top of that, we're going to take it up a notch and offer you a payment plan. So if you can't come up with $49.95, not to worry. All you need is a small deposit. You can arrange that with Pro Trader Strategies. They're in charge of all the pricing and all the discounts. Come down with a small deposit. You can still be up and running and still be in my first live class. You can still be a student of mine. So you don't have to come up with the total sum altogether. So this is a great, great offer. Remember, these are going to be 3 live classes that I'll be presenting in the upcoming weeks. Here's how to take advantage of this. Once again, I developed the course and the platform with Pro Trader Strategies. They are in charge of all the discounts and all the pricing. If you have a question concerning that, I would highly recommend calling them at 310-598-6677. They would be more than happy to arrange that payment plan with you, or at least give you a number, an estimate, so that you can think about it. But remember, class is going to be starting very soon, so it's not something you can think about for the next month, because most likely we'll already be starting the classes by that time. So remember, there's no obligation. I would really recommend calling them directly. They have trained consultants on the phone right now. They'd be more than happy to give you a quote and to explain everything to you in terms of pricing and discounts. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the information and sign up page if you'd like to sign up online. Now, that's not a live link, but they've just posted a live one in the chat box. So all you have to do is go to the chat box and you can click that on there, okay? Now, I'm going to leave all this information up so you can copy it down, copy down the phone number, and I'm going to take your questions right now. I promised you I would spend the last 10 or 15 minutes to answer any questions you may have. So if you do have a question, go to the question and answer box and type it in, and I will answer it to the best of my ability, okay? Question here. Can the tools apply to buy and hold? Sure they can. I mean, remember, it doesn't matter what time frame. It even doesn't matter what market, but the majority of our students and members around the world trade stocks. So that's why we geared this mainly for stock traders. But even if you're the type of trader who isn't just per se a short-term trader, if you like to hold on for a long portion of time, it makes absolutely no difference. All right. We have traders who use this on monthly bars. All right. I have used it on monthly bars, and I've used a lot of these techniques, even looking at longer term things, just to get an idea and to see the sequence of how it works. And it works just as well. Just know going in, and this is with any technique or any method, the longer out of time frame you go, weekly, monthly, even yearly, the less signals you'll see. But once again, most people that like to trade those time frames are not traders, they're more investors. And so you don't want to be seeing a lot of signals. You want to be holding on to a position. So this is perfect to apply for buy and hold. It really is great. So for your long-term portfolio, for your IRA, this is great. You can apply these. Someone is asking, when is the class starting? Most likely starting either at the end of December, but if we get too many students, it'll most likely then start at the very beginning of January, okay? And then someone's another question about the classes. They're going to be live. How long are they and what day? Well, first of all, most of the classes last anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. I have given classes that have been roughly about 3 hours before, but they average anywhere, about 1 or 2 hours. Usually, we start out them on Fridays at the end of the week, because in each class, I will be given a homework assignment. And that's just for you to see how well you're learning and if you're really understanding the process. So what a lot of students said before in the past is they'd like to have them on Friday, because that means on Saturday and Sunday, they can spend the entire weekend studying and going over the video. So it's up to you. If we get enough students that have another day, or maybe you want to do it on the weekend, maybe even on a Sunday, or maybe at the beginning of the week, we can do that. Just be majority vote and whatever's the best time. But we'll have students around the world. We've had students in Europe before. So we just want to pick the best time frame for everyone. But Friday, roughly around this time, seems to be the best time for everyone, okay? Good questions. Someone is, okay, that's the same question we had before. Yeah, someone's asking, are there going to be any other tools? No, we're going to stick with these because these are the best of the best. I really feel, even though I know we have upwards of 10 or so different strategies, we have other techniques and methods, these are the best because they can, meet any obstacle or any challenge head on. All right, either whether you're having a whipsaw range market, whether you missed a nice upward move and you said, gosh, I would have known that was going to take off, but how did I know? Or whether you don't have a strategy that you feel confident with, that you can really feel that you want to pull the trigger. These are the best of the best. So this is really what you need to survive, not only 2021, but any time going forward. Remember, we don't know if the market's going to continue going higher. So a lot of students always ask, well, what if the market does take a nosedive? What if it goes lower? You can apply these just as well to the downside. It makes no difference because they work in up and in down markets. That's the beauty of all this. These techniques will be able to meet any obstacle head on. So that's why we want you to be in these live classes so that you can meet these obstacles head on and won't most years start out making all these hopes and dreams and say to yourself, gosh, I really hope this year is a better year than last year, and be very discouraged at the end of the year, okay? We want to turn your trading around. That's my goal as an educator. I'm not just here to sell you stuff and say, well, good luck. I hope it works out for you the way so many other so-called educators do. I'm going to be here with you every step of the way. We want you to be able to say, gosh, this was great. For the first time, I feel confident making my own decisions. I don't have to rely going to that chat room. I don't have to rely waiting for this guy on TV every day. I can look at a chart and say, you know what, I'm going to buy that or sell that. That's what we want to do. So hopefully you'll be able to become a student of mine and take this course and get there for the very first time in your life, okay? As we conclude, I just want to say thank you so much. I hope you learned a little bit about how we want to educate you on our sincerity and really wanting to teach you to become better traders. And as you take one last look at our disclaimer, I just want to say thanks for taking time out of your Wednesday. I know you could have spent it watching the market or looking at someone else, but I appreciate you coming to this course here. But most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the 3-week live 2021 Stock Trading Survival course. Thank you so much for attending. Hope to see you in the live class. Bye-bye.